Good morning, Ape Army. Gonna do a live stream because this is such an important day. Gonna just pin this to my profile. All right. Wow, what a ride, huh? It's only just begun. Gonna have some cereal here in a little while, and I'm gonna put hedge fund tears on my cereal. Hey guys, remember when Paulie retired from being a fantasy football analyst and then just started talking about AMC stock and why you should buy it and the short squeeze potential, gamma squeeze potential, the chance to fuck over the 1%? This was early March, and some of you jumped on then. Some of you just jumped on recently. Whether you jumped on then or jumped on yesterday or ready to jump on now, whether you have one share or 10 or 100 or 500, or I have 1,325 shares, you're part of this movement. You're part of history. You'll talk about this for the rest of your life. You'll tell your grandkids how you figured out the system, broke it. We don't play the game that they want us to play. We don't play it the way that they want us to play it. This is like Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson running the Navy offense in the NFL, and the NFL going, how can we not stop this? This offense has been around since the early 1900s. It's because it's not a difficult play. It's they've shorted this stock into oblivion to ruin the company, to bankrupt the company. And we bought up all the shares to raise up the price. So they have to buy back the shares at a higher price and lose money. And we hold and hold and hold. That's why we call ourselves apes. What does an ape do? An ape just kind of sits there. Doesn't move unless it wants to. You can't budge it off its position. We're not bears. We're not bulls. We're apes. We buy and hold. It dips, we buy. It trades sideways, we buy. It goes up, we buy. We hold. It's not rocket science. It's really not. So some things that are coming to fruition here that I've talked about before this whole thing shot up. There's another DTC rule that was passed. Look at the SEC filings. It's one of the reasons why we knew that this was bubbling, because they've been scrambling. The companies that insure these short positions have been scrambling to reduce their fiduciary requirements and increase the short positions requirements on what they need to have in their accounts, on the liquidity that they need to have to cover their accounts. And there's a rule now on how the liquidations are going to take place and how the auctions are going to take place, auctioning off their positions and their assets and who can come to the table. I think BlackRock and Vanguard are very happy to be invited to the party and be part of the companies that can take over these assets when they get liquidated. And BlackRock and Vanguard are on our side. There's institutional investors that are on our side. This really isn't fuck the 1% that I've always been talking about, because there's 1% on this side and there's 1% on this side. So we've got strong money on our side. And the institutional investors hate the hedge funds. They want to see them. They want to see them suffer. So we've got them on our side. So all these rulings have been coming in the pipeline, and one of the rules they came up with was there's no 10-day waiting period on these rules anymore. So we implement a rule, we vote on it, and it's 1 day, and it gets implemented in 1 day. So that let us know that they knew that this thing is coming very quickly, and they need to scramble and get things done. What's happening right now is not the squeeze. There's data now that suggests that what happened with GameStop in January was not a squeeze, that the shorts didn't cover it all, that was all a gamma squeeze. And another thing that we talked about in my videos on AMC here over the last, couple months has been the infinite feedback loop that can be caused by a gamma squeeze. And that's what we're in right now. The shorts have not covered. The shorts have actually borrowed more shares to short this week. They know the writing's on the wall. I think they know they're going to get liquidated. I think they know they're going to go into bankruptcy and or get bailed out by the government. So they just don't know when to quit. And I think, at this point, they are not going to admit defeat. They're just going to keep shorting the stock, which is fantastic. Because the more they short it is more fuel for our rocket ship, and the higher the price will go. We need to hold on to this until the squeeze actually starts and they start covering their positions. You're going to see huge gains before the squeeze even really starts. So let's talk about this gamma squeeze. Basically, you have options contracts for future dates at certain strike prices. So right now, it's trading at $30. You could buy a $50 strike right now for, several weeks down the road, betting on the price going up, and you're buying these 100 blocks of 100 shares at just the premium. You don't have to buy the shares. You have the right to buy the shares, if you want to at some point, if you want to exercise your contract. But you can just sell the contracts for the increased premiums. People are making mad money off of these options contracts. Basically, they have to delta hedge for them. So yesterday, they were covering $30 strikes. Even though it didn't hit $30, they could see the writing on the wall and they need to hedge for it because they need to have those shares. They need to have those blocks of 100 shares to pay the people that, that bought the premiums. So today, as it goes up over $30, they'll have to start buying those $35 strikes. And as it goes over 35, they'll start delta hedging for the $40 strikes. And that's one of the reasons why we knew something was up too, because, big money had tons of money on the $40 strikes for June 18th, like $9.5 million worth. And that's not retail money. That's big institutional money. That's a whale that just knew that this was going to happen. And what's interesting, very interesting today, is that there are apps that have included options contracts now. That $40 was the highest you could go up until recently. You can now buy strikes for $41 all the way up to $59. I'm not suggesting that you do this, guys. I did not buy any options contracts. I should have, because I would have made a mint, but I still don't know when the optimum time to sell them is. And basically, unlike a common stock purchase, you can lose all your money with an options purchase. If you go the wrong way with it, you can lose everything. The nice thing about a stock is you're never going to lose all your money. I always believe in, just not selling when it's red and not selling when you're in, if you're losing money. You only lose money if you sell when you're in the red. And if you are forced to sell at a 20% loss or whatever and decide that's what you want to do, then that's what you've done. You've lost 20% of your money. With an options contract, you could lose all of it. So to me, even though I'm a gambler, it's more like gambling. I want to learn a lot more about it before I get into it. But the nice thing is, those of us that own common stock are going to benefit off of this delta hedge. And it's creating an infinite feedback loop. Now, this stock could go into the hundreds of dollars before they've covered one shorted share. because the infinite feedback loop is when they buy these stocks to cover these future contracts that are going to expire in the money, that raises the stock price, which means more options contracts are going to expire in the money that they have to hedge for. And that's going to raise the stock price, which means more. And now that they've included these 41 to 59, dollar strike prices, this could keep going and going and going before they've covered any of the short positions. It's fantastic. And the one thing that Trey Trades has been talking about, and by the way, there's people that know way more about this than me. I appreciate that you guys have been giving me your support, and I've been doing this because I thought that it would be fun to do the ride together. But I'll be very honest, I'm still learning, and I'm not the one that you should be taking your financial advice from. Trey Trades on YouTube and Twitter, Matt Kors, Wrench Capital, who sounds like Darth Vader, by the way. It's fantastic. Andrew Mo Money, Jeffrey Forbes, Short the VIX, Joshua James on Twitter, Jackson Hunter, tons of people that you should be getting your advice from. And, other than just me. But where was I? Trey has talked about this infinite feedback loop as well. And basically what I want to kind of go over is everybody asking me when I should sell. And I watched Jeffrey Forbes' video yesterday, and it really helped me kind of hone my plan for exiting this position. And I liked it too because it has nothing to do with throwing a number out there. And I'm going to tell you why I think Jeffrey is right, and you shouldn't have a number in mind. I'm going to sell at X amount. First of all, I think, depending on your position, you shouldn't ever enter a position with all the money you intend to invest. You should, average in, and you should never exit a position with all of your shares all at once either. What I plan on doing at a certain price is getting my investment back. And with my plan, I'm only going to have to sell 30 shares of these 1,325 shares that I have to get my money back. And I'll be able to let the rest ride. So I think you should at some point plan on getting your investment back. And that will give you the confidence to let it ride even higher, because at that point you're on house money. You've got your money that you've invested back. You're feeling more comfy. It's not as risky anymore, and we can let this thing go. The last thing I want to do is put anything out there that's going to screw someone else over. There's people that have 5 or 10 shares that are open to God. This goes to thousands of dollars per share because it's going to mean a lot more to them to sell towards the top. And it's going to be very hard to hit the peak. When this does eventually peak, only a very small percentage of us will be able to say that they sold at that top number. I hope that I have a few shares that I've sold, at the very top number, but it's not going to matter. You could sell on the way down too. This is what Trey is trying to instruct people to do. If you sell, all or most of your position on the way down, then you haven't hurt the squeeze. You haven't taken money out to hurt the squeeze. You've allowed it to go as high as it can go. And it really won't matter if you've sold some on the way up, some on the way down. Everyone will have unrealized gains. But we want to minimize that, right? Oh, I like this side. It says troublemaker. And I am making trouble, causing havoc. By the way, let's check in on AMC really quick. It was up 10% in the pre-market. Yeah, it's up 10% in the pre-market. It's holding over $29 per share. It's amazing. Earlier this week, it was, $11, $12 a share. It's happening. So this is what we want to do. Follow Ortex on Twitter. Ortex has been posting the short interest, the shares on loan, the utilization rate, all of this data that we have been looking at and crunching to decide that, first of all, that this was a good stock to get into because we could see the data and see how much has been shorted. Now, we could see how much they've reported, but we can't see the synthetic shares. That's going to be the X factor, is how many synthetic shares are actually out there. And by the way, as long as you hold your position through the end of business today, and I don't care what happens, the squeeze won't be over in a day. So there's no reason for you to sell today. Sorry, I've got a little runny nose this morning and no Kleenex around. That your shares are going to be counted. The CEO, Adam Aaron, who is a genius, by the way, has called for a share recount. And I think that's going to give us a little idea of how many synthetic shares are out there. I don't trust all of these brokerages to report everything. I think if they reported everything, it would expose that the stock's been shorted 3 times over. I really firmly believe that. At least twice. So we won't know when those have been covered, but they've all got to be covered. They've got to buy them all. It doesn't matter whether you hold a real share or a synthetic share, a fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy. It doesn't matter because they've got to buy it back. So don't worry about, the fact that they don't issue stock certificates anymore and you don't know whether you really own stock. They sold it to you, so you own it. If they buy it back and it's synthetic, they won't know which ones are real or synthetic until they buy them back. And then they try and, redeem them. These hedge funds that shorted the stock at $5, $8 are going to be buying it back at, $50, $60. That's just a huge loss. Do you feel for these guys? Do you feel bad for them? The guys that pop champagne and laughed at the Wall Street Bets crowd that was losing their homes, the people that when 9/11 happened, you and I are like, oh shit, who's attacking us? All these people died. This is horrible. And their first thought was, let's short the airlines because nobody's going to be flying for a while. These fuckers. Are you worried about them? They made $3 trillion during the pandemic. Hedge funds made $3 trillion during the pandemic. So don't think for a second they can't afford to pay us. And while I'm talking about that, the rumor that they are going to run this up to $50 on purpose and then make us think the squeeze is over is not, it's not. It's based on just complete fallacy and hyperbole. They would be so screwed to let it run up to $50 because that would make every options contract viable and in the money. They would be so screwed. Now, it might go to $50 today, but it won't be because they've let it go to $50. Now, we have talked about an organized fake squeeze, and they do have the ammo to at some point make us think that it's over and sell. And the media that has been saying, don't buy AMC, Benzinga and Reuters and Market Watch and the Motley Fool. Who takes investment advice from a company called the Motley Fool? I never understood that. When they say the squeeze is over, are you going to listen to them? They're the same ones that said, don't buy AMC in February and March. Oh, there's much better stocks that you can buy. This is one of the best performing stocks in the market this year. AMC traded at over 15% of the New York Stock Exchange's total volume yesterday. Let me say that one more time. Over 15% of the total volume on the New York Stock Exchange yesterday was AMC stock. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of stocks. It's insane. You're part of history, guys. Congratulations. Yeah, filter-free America. I hear you. I don't want to get into that part of the equation. I've done lots of homework on that, and now's not the time for that. But I hear you, and I don't think you're wrong. Okay, there are people that shorted the airlines after 9/11, though. Some of them did before, and that's pretty sketchy. That people just thought to short the airlines before the whole, airline industry got shut down. We're not going to talk about that because these are happy days. All right. But you're not wrong. I appreciate your comment. It's nice that people are watching. I mean, it is 5:30 in the morning, so I wasn't expecting to go live and see, hundreds of people. But there have been hundreds and even thousands of people watching my little short videos, which I really appreciate. So I've gotten off topic, but I know in my head that I need to address this because I've teased it. We'll know when the real squeezes happened, when the shares on loan start going down, they start covering. They're going to have to cover. I believe there are 130 million shares on loan. And like I said, I think there's hundreds of millions of synthetic shares as well. But as that shares on loan starts going down by, 10, 20, 30 million a day, we'll know that they're covering. And we have to keep in mind that Ortex is T+2, which means there's a 2-day settlement period, which means the data that they're reporting is 2 days late. So what we see today is what happened on Wednesday. We're still going to have time, though, because this squeeze is not going to just be a day. It's going to be several days, and it's going to be violent price action. So that's how you'll know, guys. I think you should pick a number and decide when you're going to get your investment back. And even when you do that, it should be on very, very, very small blocks of trades, so you're not upsetting the squeeze. But like I said, at that point, we will be so far in the money that you will be able to sell a fraction. I mean, I'm in a position to sell, 3%, 4% of my position to get my money back. Oh, sorry. I got something about remind me later for some stupid update. Now it's going to ask me when to remind me. I said later. Okay. So getting your investment back and then just letting it ride. And we'll be able to see this data coming out and be able to see what's been covered, how many shares have been covered, and we'll know. And there's still going to be FOMO. What's happened over the last few days has been FOMO buying and people getting in, people getting that water cooler talk. Oh, you made how much on AMC? Man, maybe I should buy some. It's going to increase over the weekend at the Memorial Day cookouts, the Indy 500 races this weekend. People are going to be getting together and having a holiday, because the restrictions are being lifted and we can actually get together now. And people are going to be grilling their hamburgers. Hey, you should flip that burger over. You should buy AMC. What's that? So there's going to be lots of more people getting in on this because FOMO is a hell of a thing. People are going to be, wanting to get in, and you'll be able to say, yeah, I bought at $11 a share because Paulies Sleepers helped me win fantasy football championships and then told me to buy AMC. And I trust him at that point. He told me to draft Alvin Kamara. He told me to draft Terry McLaurin. Why wouldn't I listen to him? I'm sorry. There's just a euphoria that's been kind of building within my bloodstream over the last few days. It's been very hard to explain. I don't know if you caught my video yesterday of me just singing Alice Cooper in the BMW, but it just something came over me. I felt like so vindicated. Like I've been telling all of you guys for months and months. Money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you freedom. The 99% are filled with people that are afraid to take a chance. Let me tell you a story. My ex-wife, true story, when Apple decided to come out with the iPhone, I thought it was a great idea. I thought, wow, they're gonna combine the computer with the phone, and I'm gonna have a computer on my phone with a screen. Sounds pretty good. Sounds like something I might want to invest in. And at the time, we had some money, had a relative pass, and came into like $10,000 or $12,000. And I went to my ex-wife and I said, we should buy this Apple stock because they're doing this iPhone thing. You're going to have a computer on your phone, like Star Trek. And she said, no, we don't need to do that. We should go to Disney World. We went to Disney World. I don't know. I haven't recently done the math, but take the share price of Apple. This was a week before the iPhone came out, by the way. Take the share price of Apple about a week before the iPhone came out and buy $10,000 or $12,000 worth of it, and then figure out how much that would be worth today. That's how much money she lost me. I think at that point I decided, you know what? This might not work out. They say behind every great man is a great woman, but for me, behind every great man was a woman pulling him down. Now there's nobody around to tell me what not to do. There were plenty of people on Twitter that said, Paulie, you're going to lose your followers' money. You're not a financial advisor. And I'm not. I am not a financial advisor. But the people that bought in with AMC are super happy. I'm getting DMs and texts all the time. Paulie, thank you. I bought 100 shares. I bought 50 shares. I just bought a couple hundred more shares. There's people out there that have more than I do. Ballers. Big ballers. So that's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to just watch the data. It's like analytics with fantasy football, which is interesting because I was always a film guy. But the numbers are there, and we'll be able to see when they've covered, and we'll be able to know when to sell. This is going to be super fun. This is going to be the largest transfer of wealth in history. This is going to be the largest short squeeze in stock exchange history. It's happening right now. 2021 is the rise of the retail investor. It is. And you're a part of it. Kids, don't smoke. It's bad for you. So you'll need a financial advisor to help you with your capital gains taxes. They're going to want capital gains. I've done some research into it. I think I can shift some money into a 401k account right off of my my exchanges. To keep the tax man off my back. I think I can transfer a certain amount. And I'm not so sure if I keep the money in the market, if I have to pay capital gains taxes. I don't think I have to pay until I actually take it out and take it off my app. I'm not sure. I've done very little research on this. I just know that we need to be very careful and realize that basically half the money that we make is going to go to Uncle Sam. 47%. I don't know. Whatever capital gains is, it's fucking ridiculous. But what are we going to do with our money after we get it? I want to make more. The hedge funds will be able to see what blue chip stocks they are involved in, because blue chip stocks will just take a huge hit. There's a hedge fund called Archegos that got liquidated several weeks back. And Discovery Channel stock just took a tank, like 45%. So it became very evident that this Archegos hedge fund had blue chip money in Discovery, and they had to sell it to cover their positions. And smart money snatched that up, because those blue chip stocks, the trigger is when they take those big hits, because they usually just take 1 or 2% swings. When they take a 40% swing, and there's no news or anything, no lawsuits or any reason for it. Just go snatch it up. Discovery rebounded in like 2 days. So this is the double dip. When we take their money from them off the squeeze, we can also buy their blue chip shares off of them at a discount and have a safe investment to, basically double our money again. That's what I plan on doing. Citadel, that's the company that shorts AMC the most, is heavily invested in Google. We know this through the 13F filings. So if I'm right and Citadel gets margin called, gets liquidated, goes bankrupt, Google stock will take this just massive hit out of nowhere. I'm going to buy Google stock. There's lots of other things I plan on doing, but that's one of the things I plan on doing is checking out and seeing. And there's all kinds of hedge funds. There's all kinds of people that are going to get screwed over on this whole deal. AMC and GameStop shooting. By the way, I own some GameStop too. I always have, because they're going to shoot up again. They're also heavily shorted. And I think one's going to trigger the other. In a perfect world, AMC will shoot first and GameStop will still be bubbling. I mean, while this whole AMC thing's been going down, GameStop's been going up. Not as much as we have been, but a little bit. Yesterday, they waited till the very end of the day to go up. But if GameStop hasn't squoze yet, you could take your AMC money and buy GameStop and sit on that and wait for it to squeeze. I am not a financial advisor. This is just what I'm going to do with my money. Buy blue chips. Buy a couple stocks that haven't squoze yet. COS is one. Bed Bath & Beyond. Microvision, MVIS. MVIS is actually a stock that I would like to just buy and hold because they do autonomous driving technology, which is really cool. There's another one with like a glucose monitoring system. I'll have to tell you about that later because I've got that pulled up on my desktop at work and I forget what it is. And also stocks that pay dividends. There's another one I have to tell you about that I can't remember, but they're like a property group management company. They trade for about $8 or $9 and their yearly dividend is 9.58%. So there's companies that pay you to just hold their stock. AT&T is 7%. So if you could find some stocks to invest in that pay a 7, 8, 9% dividend, depending on how much money you've got in the game, you could literally live off of your dividends. This is part of having wealth, guys. This is what we're trying to do. Not trying to get rich. I'm trying to get wealthy. I'm trying not to work another day in my life. I'm going to donate. I donated some money to Shane Barrett's cause. He's having a charity tournament that I think he runs every year. It's for autism. I forget his daughter's name, but I donated it in her name. And I let him know that I'm going to be putting a lot more in it, once I get my money from AMC. The National Center for Exploited and Missing Children has always been my charity. I'll be giving them a chunk. So, once we get this money, let's do the right thing with it. Help out some family, donate money, be good, be a good person. We've earned this, all right? I'm gonna hop off here. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover, but we've earned this. Hold the line, break that sell button off and throw it away for now. Somebody posted, I loved it. They said, I bought some more AMC stock and changed my password blindfolded. I love that shit. I love all of you too. Thank you for your support. I was bitching that some people unfollowed me, and it's not about the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that have unfollowed me. It's really not. It's about a couple people in the space, in the fantasy space, that were big names that I helped out along the way, that I supported. Even some people that were on my podcast and unscripted podcasts that unfollowed me, and that kind of made me hurt. I understand if you're here for fantasy and you don't want to talk stocks, but you could mute somebody or you could just scroll right past them. Geez, I'm sorry that I clouded your feed with a way to make money. Sorry I bothered you with a way to invest money, and I'm up 160%. I'm up this week, the equivalent of 3 months of my salary. Sorry if you don't want that. But that's what got me mad. There were about 3 or 4 or 5 people that I've known for a long time that I thought would never, unfollow me unless I did something rude. I don't care about it, everybody else. I understand. I was on Twitter for fantasy football for a long time too, and blocked out the politics and other things. So I get it. I'm also getting new followers, people, apes, AMC people, stock people. So the out with the old and in with the new, that's fine. I appreciate you all, everybody that's been following me along with this. And I'm finding out every day there's lots more people in my follower list that are in this AMC thing than I thought. Every day I'm finding more and more and more. Filter Free America, thanks for subscribing. Joey Vincent, thanks for being on here. I don't know if you're still around, but I appreciate you. And the 3 other people that are watching. It's now 5:43 a.m. One last time, we're going to check the stunk. See how it's doing. Oh no, what happened? I'm just joking. We're still up 10%. It's going to be a crazy day. We could see a day that closes well above $35 or $40 a share or more. And we've got a long weekend to think about it and come back Tuesday, do it all over again. So thank you all. And let's get it. Fuck the 1%.